Just spent the past 45 minutes filming a lot of really good stuff, or at least what I thought was good, and I realized that this guy wasn't on, so I need a beer. Welcome to part 3 of the 2025 Project Yard playlist. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is JJ. Behind me is Marty. I'm a licensed fertilizer applicator and pesticide applicator for lawns in the state of Maryland. And today is our third installment of the 2025 project video series. I am outlining every single treatment I do on my customers' lawns as a lawn care professional. And today we are talking about grubs, as well as trying to accurately evaluate our lawns moving into the summer. So today's application is going to be grub control. Now, I already made a much longer, more in-depth video about grub control, so please check that up here. But the long and the short of it is make sure that you are applying the product at the label rate. Make sure you are watering it in, and if you do apply grub control but you do have issues going forward with things like browning of grass, die-off, moles, it doesn't mean that you have grubs. There are a variety of reasons why your lawn could possibly be turning brown this summer, and we are going to be talking about some of those expectations in this video. The grub control product I use professionally is a Celiprin. This is a Lesco item that is packaged, I guess, with the Syngenta product, Celiprin. Main ingredient is chlorantraniliprole. The reason why I use it is, one, it's better for the environment. It doesn't harm pollinators. Two, it has a wider window. I can apply it from now around May all the way up until about late June. It is not as water soluble, so it's going to hang out in the soil longer. And also it is better for my customers because it is more forgiving with the watering in. So when I drop a product on their yard and I say, hey, you need to water this in, some guys, they just set the app and go with their sprinklers, but other ones, they have to physically get out a hose or a manual sprinkler. So for my usage, it is something that I really enjoy using. The big thing I would tell you to look out for when you apply grub control is there are two types. There's a 24-hour, you're gonna kill them tomorrow grub control, and then there is a preventative grub control that you put down this time frame to protect yourself from damage later in the summer. Do not confuse those two. If you do not have grub damage right now, you should be putting down the preventative. If you do have grub damage, then you should be down the 24-hour and possibly also the preventative. But I will say that cool season turf, if you do have grub damage, is very tough to rescue because those grubs eat the roots, and then you don't see those effects until later on when the heat and the lack of rain in the summer cause your grass to stress out and die because it can't get water and nutrients and cool itself down due to those missing roots from the grubs. Now that I have thoroughly concerned you, and you're probably going to now start researching grub control, I will say that if it is not in the budget this year, do not treat for it. There are much more important things that you should focus on in terms of your lawn that will benefit you in the long run. I preach to you guys all the time about applying accurately, and that is what I do on my yard as well. So this is the product here, and you can apply between like 3.5 and 6.5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. I'm going to be shooting for about 5 pounds, and this is not just good for grubs, but it's good for a variety of insects that go below and in your turf, like weevils, armyworms. If you apply, or if you put in let's say 30 pounds of product, that's exactly what you need for your yard, into a completely bone dry spreader, you're going to have a very tough time applying those last 2 to 3 pounds, because there needs to be some type of product in the bottom of your hopper for it to flow appropriately through the spreader. So when you get down to those last few bits, I don't know if you can kind of see how much I have in there, but I'm going to put in the amount of product I need for this lawn, and then I'm going to have this much left when I'm done. I will say that this is also probably one of the first products maybe that if you're a lawn care or if you're working on your own lawn that you're going to actually shell out a good amount of money for. It's much more expensive than fertilizer. So if you're intimidated by spreading this, or you haven't spread many products in the past, go slow. Do 1,000 square feet of product at a time. My yard here is 7,000 square feet. I want to apply 5 pounds per 1,000, so that is going to be 35 pounds of product. Now here is the million-dollar question. Am I watering this in? Yes. Am I doing it? No, I'm waiting for the rain to fall on Wednesday, and that is going to be 100% sufficient. Do you actually have to water it in within 24 hours? There are reasons why the label says that. Some of it is to protect the company from possible fertilizer burn, and is also to make sure that you water it in. But for the most part, I've talked to people from Syngenta, and they are very confident that that active ingredient, chlorantraniliprole, is going to hang out in your turf for at least a few weeks if you have to rely on natural rainfall. So that shouldn't be a huge issue if you have to wait on rain. The two things that you might be looking at in your lawn right now are either lots of weeds or not enough grass. And let's talk about the differences between those two very similar topics. Now, let's say you just moved into a house, or you missed your pre-emergent window and you have lots of weeds coming up. You're gonna have two basic types of weeds. You're gonna have your broadleaf weeds, and you're gonna have your grassy weeds. Your broadleaf weeds are exactly what they sound like. They're kind of little plants, and they have broad leaves that grow up like little trees. And then you have your grassy weeds, things like crabgrass, Dallas grass, quackgrass. They look exactly like they sound. They are types of grasses, and they will respond to different active ingredients. For the less advanced lawn care dude or dudette out there, all I would tell you is this: do not plan any serious lawn interventions until you get to the fall. At this point, things are in place already, and if you try to make any serious adjustments, this is cool season lawns, that is, so everybody south or north of like North Carolina, it's just going to be too hot. There's not going to be enough water, and your lawn's just going to be stressed out. It's not going to respond well to a renovation. So just do the best you can cutting it and managing it, and we will fix these problems in the fall. One thing you might notice in your yard this spring are the presence of seed heads. Do not confuse that with a weed. Do not confuse that with Poa annua, which is a very similar looking weed. Your grass tries to go to seed every single year. That is just how the biological cycle of the plant is. It tries to eventually mature and then drop those seeds to reproduce. If you just keep mowing, do that weekly mow twice a week if you're really motivated, and eventually those seed heads will stop appearing. If you have lots of weeds coming up, feel free to treat for those. It might be a losing battle, especially if you don't have any pre-emergent down protection at all. They are definitely going to spring up as the soil temps get warmer and warmer in your region, so just be prepared for that. But if you put down pre-emergent now, if you think that you're gonna just kind of protect yourself in the summer, that could hinder you putting grass seed down in the fall, because pre-emergent doesn't let seeds germinate. That is weed seeds, or that is your good turf seeds. So I would say if you've missed the boat on pre-emergent, then you could either A, do the best you can, spraying as we go on through the summer, or just let it ride, save that money, and you can buy yourself a slightly nicer 6-pack down the road after you do all of this renovation in the fall. And that brings me to the second half of this coin, and that is not having enough grass. Now, I did my best Burt Reynolds for you guys earlier in the season, where I laid in front of this bare patch that got absolutely decimated by drought and disease last year. The soil is super compacted. Jesus himself would have a tough time carving another 5 commandments out of this. And this is something that a lot of homeowners kind of don't know how to articulate. It's like, my lawn's okay, but it's not thick. It's not dense enough. And the only way you can make grass, cool season grass kind of thicken up is you can push it with fertilizer. But if you look at these tufts of fescue, this is about as good as it gets. This is about as wide as they spread. They're kind of like the size of your hand, kind of like a small plate size. And you're not going to get this to spread anymore. So this is something that if this bothers you, if this is something that you want to correct, then you will have to overseed in the fall. I do not recommend it in the summer. This is a fall task. In contrast, this is my front yard mowed at 3.5 inches, and it literally cannot get better. It is very dense, the turf is tight, and it's very dark green. I'm really happy with it. And I know that it's not going to look any better than this in June, July, August. It's going to get hot, it's going to get heat stressed. I'm going to have brown patch pressure. So I'm just trying to enjoy it right now, to be honest. Like, how often do you actually take your shoes off and walk around in your yard rather than, you know, looking at all of the issues, picking weeds, things like that? So maybe you should just go out and just enjoy your yard with your family and a cold beer. So behind me is my new lawnmower. It's the Honda HRX 217 VKA. I finally wanted to treat myself to a good lawnmower that's not going to fail me. It's not going to be a lawnmower powered by battery packs that we're going to have to eventually chuck into the ocean. I'm really happy with this. It's a buy once, cry once situation. By crying once, I mean I cried 763 individual tears, if that makes sense. But I'm very, very happy with this. And I'm not sponsored by Honda by any means at all, but this is the mower that I'll be using going forward. So I hope you guys got something out of today's video. Not a lot going on. Grub Control, when you put it down, is not going to have any type of visual response on the turf. It is a preventative. I would not recommend putting down any heavy-duty fertilizers right now. I will be putting down a slow release fertilizer in about a month or so please check in on that. But May is the time that your lawn is looking its best. You don't have to put a lot of effort into it, maybe kind of just a few inputs here and there, but the whole goal is to put the least amount of product down possible. So if Grub Control is not in your budget this year, do not sweat it. If it is, I recommend that chlorantraniliprole active ingredient, Celiprin by Syngenta. You can get it in GrubX as well. Please be responsible when you apply it. And if you have moles or if you have brown grass in the future, it doesn't mean you always have grubs. Keep that in mind as well. My name is JJ. This is Marty, and this has been the Lawn Lab.